So, the biggest part of losing weight and doing keto is going to be, first of all, in my experience, intermittent fasting is the best way to lose weight for 90% of people. You fast, it stabilizes your blood sugar levels because you're not eating. Your pancreas can slow down on the release of insulin, which is a dominating hormone. Intermittent fasting, you just push breakfast. Don't eat breakfast. Push it until lunch. Push it until noon, first time. Maybe push it to 11:30 if you can the first day. Next day, push it to 11:30. Next day, push it to 12. Get to where you can push that baby out to 1, 2, 3 o'clock. And that will help 90% of everybody's problem. After that stops working and people have begun to plateau, I would say the next best thing to do would be to look more into the science of metabolism, which you don't really have to do, but essentially what it comes down to is you realize that blood sugar is everything at a cellular level for you as an organism. What that means is you just need to eat less foods that affect your blood sugar, because you have two systems of energy. You have a mitochondria in every single cell of your body. Doesn't matter what type of cell, every cell has mitochondria. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria can either create ATP through blood sugar or ketones. And so the primary fuel source for the body, believe it or not, is what the body stores for backup fuel. Primary source is fat. That's why it stores saturated fat, because that's its primary fuel source. The secondary fuel source, should we encounter it at some point in our primitive lives, or our ancestors' primitive lives, would be sugars, starches, carbohydrates, maybe a potato in the ground. But most of us spend our lives operating on our secondary energy source. It's very addicting. It's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's whatever you feel like it is once you place your judgment on it. But as far as intermittent fasting and having plateaued, for me and my self experience, what I do, I've done the intermittent fasting route. It works great. I plateaued, right? I digress. But what I do today is I do keto, right? Keto is, you can label diets whatever you want. I've done them all. They're all really good. Keto, I wouldn't even label it that. It's just basically, you take your macros, you eat a breakfast that is majority fat. I eat breakfast sausage, about half of one of the 1 pound tubes, half a pound of sausage. I put coconut in there just to fry it and cook it better and faster, just a little bit. Not down for the taste. The taste is okay. It's just more about the saturated fat content. Coconut oil is 20% MCT oil, which stands for medium chain triglycerides. So you have long chain triglycerides. Medium chain triglycerides are only important because the whole effect of the glucose blood sugar situation, your body can get energy from stored glucose, right, in your muscles. But everybody forgets that your brain is one of the biggest energy demanders, or whatever you want to call it, in your body. Your brain doesn't store glucose. It's not a muscle. It doesn't have stored energy in it. It depends on energy in the bloodstream at all times. So when your blood sugar drops, when you get hangry, when you're low on carbs and you don't have enough electrolytes, and you're low on carbs and you feel fatigued, it's because you're out of electrolytes. You need the green vegetables. Just a salad kit will do just fine. It'll bring your electrolyte balance back up. And B vitamins, whatever. But the brain gets addicted to the blood sugar. And now what'll happen is, instead of teaching the brain to metabolize fat, make ketones, there's a biological shift that kind of has to happen. The brain will send a signal to the kidneys, the adrenal glands on top of the kidneys, to produce cortisol. Cortisol will then metabolize muscle and turn it into sugar to raise the blood sugar, right? It'll stress, so it'll raise the blood sugar so the brain can feed off energy. It'll have energy. So it will eat the muscle. That's how that works. And so, you know, the long and short of it for me, I eat a high-fat breakfast. I eat pork sausage. I eat pork everything. I eat lots of fat content. 2 eggs fried in there. I put a good handful of cheese on the eggs. I eat that. You know, if I had to guess, because I used to count calories, I used to count macros, I know how to do it. You know, 1 gram of fat, 1 gram in weight of fat is equivalent to 9 calories. 1 gram of weight in carbs is 4 calories, caloric value. 1 gram of weight in protein is 4 calories of caloric value. That's how you total it up to figure out the total calories in a serving. You add up, you know, 9 grams of fat, 9 times 9, that's how many calories, plus maybe 4 grams of carbs, 4 times 4, that's how many calories of carbs, and then you add those 3 macros together, you get the total amount of calories in that serving. So I know how to do it. It's it just changes, you know, it's scientific metabolism, man, and it's I eat a high-fat diet, and then lunchtime comes around, I just make sure I eat something green. Today I'm eating sugar snap peas. You know, it's got a little bit more carbs than I would like, but I don't care that much. It's just something green for the electrolytes, to keep me from feeling fatigued. Because if you don't eat green stuff on a low-carb diet, like most bodybuilders or people in the gym will, who know what carb cycling is, they will attest to that. Be like, oh, you have to cycle your carbs, otherwise you can't function. Well, you can't function because, yeah, you eat carbs, but you don't eat any green things too. You need to eat more. Eat a kit, one of the salad kits. They're like $3. Eat one of those for lunch. You'll realize you don't get fatigued. It's kind of strange, but all it is an electrolyte balance. Electrolyte balance, B vitamins, potassium and magnesium are the 2 major electrolytes that people get deficient in. Now, there's people who have nervous system problems when their carbs get low. The nervous system is an electrical system. There's a reason that these the potassium and magnesium are called electrolytes. All right, they help the nervous system fire. So you're feeling fatigued because your nervous system can't fire properly. It's important because your heart depends on that stuff. There was a guy at my gym who, I guess he was on a treadmill. He was doing, you know, he was a bodybuilder and stuff. Really nice guy. I love him a lot. He's really cool, really fascinating to talk to. Have really good conversations with him. But he actually, his heart stopped or palpitated and on the treadmill at the gym, and they had to resuscitate him. He's got a huge scar on his chest. They had to cut him open, do like emergency surgery. But we were talking about it, and we kind of figured it out, narrowed it down, that it was probably just the lack of electrolytes for his nervous system, low carb day. You know, and take it all with a grain of salt. Maybe I'm wrong. I very well could be, honestly. I feel like I'm not, but I totally could be. I realize that. You look back in your life, you hear something that you were saying, man, I was so wrong, you know. So everything with the grain of salt, guys. It's just, that has been my experience, delving into it a little bit more. So, you know, give it a try. Try to do the intermittent fasting, push that lunch out, you know, 1 or 2 o'clock, and then play with your macros a little bit, you know, reduce the carbs a little bit. First, you have to start counting them, the grams, and then try to bring them down below 100. You know, you'll start feeling fatigued when you do that. Just grab a bag of this. Grab a bag of snap peas. Eat that, you know. It's important to feel hungry, too. You can never feel satisfied if you're never truly hungry. You know, and